What's good, world? Of course, you know who it is. Jay Sway. This topic today will be how to run your own record label. First of all, if you're independent, let's say you're an artist, some of the things that you want to learn about uh, to start with the basis. We'll start with actually forming a name, form your company name. And when you form your company name, you will actually sketch it out, have a designer do some type of tweaking. Then you will design a logo. When you design a logo, what you want to do is make sure that logo is not taken. Now, there are different ways to do it. First, you will have to start on the state level, and then also on the federal level when building that logo. Like for instance, you see the logo of the bull. Of course, you know that's Chicago Bulls logo. If you're building your own company logo, you will go to uspto.gov, or you can also go to the Copyright Office, www.copyrightoffice.com, or also copyrightoffice.gov. Now, what happens is within those particular websites, they will cover trademarks, they will cover patents, they will cover copyrights as well. Now, to back up, if you want to do a little studying before you actually apply on your actual search, what you want to do is you can look up a book, get a book from Barnes and Nobles. At the time I purchased it, it was about $14. Um, it's called Patents, Copyrights, and Trademarks for Dummies. Now, believe it or not, this will actually be one of the most important investments that you actually make when it comes to being a business owner, when it comes to being a record label owner or business owner, period. And then, also another book, since we're speaking about titles of books, is it's called Musicians Atlas. Musicians Atlas is good for building the brand in a sense of how to market your music, how to market your material. Let's say, for instance, you're in a studio and your label, or you just record it with someone, and then, let's say, for instance, it was a works for hire or just a collaboration. What you want to do uh, in recording is find out exactly what's needed. Like for instance, a copyright, you have different forms of copyright. You have your you have your PA format, you have your SR format, you have your SE format. Now, usually you have the long form and the short form. You know, even to this day, I still use the long form. You know, basically, it's because if you mess up filling out this paperwork, they actually fine you. Washington D.C. The office in Washington D.C. will actually fine you if everything's not done correct. So when you get your PA format, when you get your SR format, when your music is concerned, what you want to do is print it out. You go to the copyrightoffice.gov, print that work off, you know, SR format or SE format or PA format, print it out. You know, it'll be free of charge. Make sure you get all forms, just to have that in your file so you can just have that in your folders. What you want to do is follow along with the long form PA format or SR format or SE format. Now, what that does is it'll walk you through step by step. Like, for instance, you have your form. Let's say, for instance, you have your form here. I'm just going to use a sheet of paper. You have your form, right? And one box. One box may say uh, title of works. You put the title of your actual song. Let's say, for instance, a single was "Bounce and Shake It, Twerk It." I would put my first title name for the song, Bounce to Shake It Twerk It. Then the second name, a backup name, just in case if that name was taken, I would say Make It Bounce. Or a third title, I would say Make That Thing Bounce. So that's what I would do. Then also further down, it will ask for your birthday. Is it a works for hire? Is it anonymous? Is it synonymous? Are you the owner? You know, is it an agreement? Are you the owner along with another owner? If that's the case, what you'll have to do is actually you'll put your name as the owner of the label, as the owner of that particular work, basically that particular song. Now let's say for instance, you were you wrote the material, everything's done, everything's complete. And let's say for instance you were writing in the summertime or you wrote in the wintertime. Let's say you have albums that you already have done. This can even refer to, well, not mixed CDs, because of the actual productions would be someone else's productions. Now, actual works, as far as like the production is concerned, the beats concerned, the lyrics are concerned, like you're the songwriter, you're owned as a songwriter. If it's just you yourself, you're owned 100% publishing rights of that work. Now, if you're also the producer of that work, you're on 100% of those works. So therefore, that gives you 200% ownership of those works. Now, let's say, for instance, you wrote a song and you produced a song, and you're a writer on the song, and then someone else is also a writer of the song. As publishing is concerned, they will become half owner as well of the publishing as far as the songwriter is concerned. Now, if you produce the track, of course, you'll still own 100% of the publishing rights as far as that particular work is concerned. Now, writing societies. When I talk about publishing, you get to talking about writing societies. Who are the particular songwriting societies you have? You have BMI, who I'm with and who my team is with. Everyone on my labels with BMI. You have BMI, you have ASCAP, you have CSAC. These are songwriting organizations uh, that are set up there to protect your works and to protect you as an individual or as a corporation to make sure that you get paid. Let's say that every time your song is played on the radio station, every time your song is been played in a commercial, your music has been played for whatever reason in different avenues. Let's say, for instance, you got your songs, uh, you license your music out to a particular video game, or you license it out to a commercial. Uh, every time, if you license it out, let's say, for instance, to a particular video game, uh, you get paid a set fee, and then of course that continuous income will be coming from that particular work as well. Let's say, for instance, you were doing song placement and you had someone pitch your work, or you may pitch your work yourself. Uh, another good book for song pitching is by Jason Bloom. Jason Bloom, uh, Grammy Award winning author, songwriter. He's written for anyone that you can possibly think of, from R&B to rock to pop. I actually saw Jason Bloom down in Nashville, Tennessee, when we went to BMI. Uh, when I stayed further down that way, we would always make trips down to BMI, and he was basically there for a workshop. So, what you want to do is make sure that you're established as a songwriter. Make sure that you have uh, your copyrights. Make sure everything's lined up. Because let's say, for instance, you've heard of poor man copyright. You know, you write the song. Of course, for those who don't know, just as soon as you start writing that song or you type that song, that is a form of copyright. You know, it's actually in your name. If you type it and you save it on your computer, that's a form of copyright. If you uh, save it on a CD in a studio, that's a form of copyright. But what you want to do is you want to give it fangs, so therefore, if someone tries to actually infringe on your copyright, someone actually tries to infringe on your material when you go to court, uh, you'll have some you'll have some fighting power, you know. But definitely, what you want to do is it's not hard. It's not hard. It just takes a little work. Sometimes, let's say, for instance, if you're just starting out and you're just building your label, and you want to work on a brand, of course, it's going to start with you. When you first start out, you'll wear different hats. You may wear, I don't know, 5 to 10 different hats, but that's a good thing, because when you're bringing your team in, let's say, for instance, your artists. Let's say you have rappers on your label. You have R&B singers. You have pop singers. You may have a rock label. You may have reggaeton. You may have anything, blues. You may have anything, and you may have an actual production side, someone that does the producing, or a few people. You may do collaborations as producers to come together. Uh, what you want to do is be able to study all of that, so therefore you can teach that particular knowledge to every artist that's on your label. It's very important not just to have uh, artists on your label. What you want to do is you want to teach them artists to become businessmen. You want to teach them artists to become business women. You want them to be able to have access of a high percentage of creative control, or 100% creative control. Therefore, because if they don't have creative control of the actual writing, their style, their technique, and you censoring what they're writing about, that takes away the true form of artistry. One thing I've always done with my artists was I gave them that ability, you know, to be able to write anything. Therefore, if there were, say, for instance, curse words, uh, we could easily, go in the studio, bleep those words out. But it's always good to have a clean version, basically a radio version, have a street version. There's some artists may say, well, I can't hinder my style of writing. Let's say, for instance, some artists like DMX. You wouldn't ever want to, hold back an artist like DMX off of his lyrical content, basically what he speaks about, what he talks about. Uh, you know, you don't want to do that. You take away the true artistry of that particular artist. Um, even poetry. Most of your great artists, songwriters, are actually poets, are actually songwriters. They build their craft, you know, uh, just off a continuous process of writing. You know, some of the things that we'd always do, um, you know, before we formed our own label, uh, we worked with a lot of different people, um, and the foundation of within the studio, you want to make sure that you have a great relationship with that particular engineer. Your artist, the artist relationship engineer, a relationship, needs to be top notch. So therefore, if that engineer is just starting out, or already uh, top notch or Grammy award winning engineer, you want to build some type of relationship, some type of rapport. So therefore, they'll know you as an artist. You'll know them as an engineer. They'll know exactly what to look for. You know, um, it seems like a lot, but it's really not. It's really not a lot. Um, so what you want to do is you want to continue to, just write from the heart. Be write truth, write truth. Always speak truth as an artist. Always speak truth. Um, I find that those are the best works. You know, like for instance, a lot of times, we write on the spot. You know, we come into the studio, the tracks being played. and we'll come with an actual. We may have the hook or whatever, tracks being played, and you may have, I don't know, a writer's collaboration. You may have four artists in the studio. You may have two artists in the studio. You want to create that great chemistry. You have to have that chemistry. Like when Ashbrook Studios, that was a studio that we used in the very beginning. It was a studio that actually gave us confidence as writers. Uh, you know, and then we would take it from there. We would go out, we promote the shows. We started with artist showcases, and then from there we did shows, different concerts. We would bring artists, as far as concert promoting was concerned. We would bring artists to the city. You know, so I mean, there'd be names like Gucci Man, Waka Flocka, A-Ball and JG, and things of that nature. And then one thing to keep yourself sharp as a label is to collaborate with other labels, other companies, other promotional companies. Like for instance, there may be friends that in a particular neighborhood. Like for myself, it would be Stay Wet Entertainment, or Cheddar Brand Entertainment, uh, Trap Boys, City Boy Music Group, and a lot of these particular labels, Angry Nerds, a lot of these different groups, labels, artists circulate a lot of their work through 41 South. 41 South is one of the biggest concert promoters, party promoters in the Midwest. So, hey, you guys have any questions about how to copyright your music, how to patent your music, trademark, how to build a brand, whatever it may be? Just one second. Yeah. It's like I was saying, if you have any questions about building that brand, don't be afraid to reach out. You can reach out to my email. You can reach out uh, here on the YouTube, or you can hit me up. That'll be Jamal Shabazz 16 at gmail.com. That's JAMAL Shabazz SHABAZZ 16 at gmail.com. Or you can also contact me. My contact number that would be business line is 815-491-5753. So yeah, any questions, comments, hit me up.